Hey, what's going on guys? Timzy here and welcome to Rank Up. And in this video, I want to talk about the importance of movement and sound in Rainbow Six Siege. So let's get into it. Everything in Siege makes sound. Whether you're punching a barricade, using a gadget, reloading your weapon, or even walking, you will make some amount of sound. Now different actions produce different levels of sound, but sound propagates differently based on the environment that you're in. For example, sound will travel further if made inside the courtyard or border, but won't travel as far if made inside the bathroom. The way sound propagates is also affected by the hatches around you, as well as holes in the ceilings, floors, or walls around you. Sound is one of the most important aspects of Siege because it allows you to predict your enemy, but you need to be aware of the sound that you produce as well. Now, how exactly does someone improve their listening ability to be able to actually pinpoint the direction a sound is coming from? Well, it all starts with using headphones or earbuds for 3D audio because you can now hear if the sound is to your left or to your right. And from there you want to use map knowledge, which I will talk about more in the next video, to figure out which room the sound is coming from. And the best advice I can give is to start guessing where you think the sound is coming from, and as you attempt to do this more and more often, you'll start getting better at it, and eventually you'll be able to predict what room a sound is coming from and the exact location. Now, this is something that won't happen overnight. It does take time to master, but it all starts from you just guessing where you think sound is coming from until you get better at it. Now that you have a better understanding of sound, let's talk about movement. First off, the movement in Siege is very smooth. Going from standing to crouching to leaning can feel like one fluid motion. And the first movement mechanic that you want to master is leaning. Leaning in Siege is one of the most underused mechanics in the game, and not only does leaning give you an advantage when it comes to peeking around a corner, but it also changes your player model and your position, and in a one-shot headshot mechanic game, it can be the difference from winning or losing a gunfight. Now, since we're talking about leaning, there is a right and wrong way to lean. If you're peeking from the left side of a doorway, you want to lean to the right into the peek, and the same goes for the right side of a doorway. You want to lean to the left into the peek as well, because if you lean the other way, you'll be exposing half of your body before your crosshair even passes the doorway. Moving on from leaning, we have crouching. Now, knowing when to crouch and when to stand is extremely important to winning gunfights because you want to be as hard of a target to hit as possible. I personally recommend standing in a majority of gunfights because although crouching makes you a smaller target, it also makes it easier to hit a headshot. Now, there are perfect situations where crouching is 100% better than standing, and that is when you can crouch behind cover where you only expose your head. This forces the enemy to hit a more precise shot while you are sitting behind cover. So there are two more movement mechanics that I want to talk about, and the first one is melee. I think it's pretty safe to say that if you're not a shield operator, you're probably going to get into more gunfights than knife fights, but if you manage to get that close to someone, then definitely use your melee. Besides that, it does have many functions throughout Siege like breaking barricades, barbed wire, and gadgets, so although it may not be used for what we could call its intended use, it still can be used for many actions in Siege. Last but not least, we have proning. Now, proning can be loud and it can leave you vulnerable at times, but there are ways to use proning to your advantage. The first way is proning on a pixel angle. This makes you extremely difficult to hit while allowing you to hold an angle and wait for the enemy to peek. This can be very useful when holding doorways or breaches that the enemy is forced to run through. Another great use for proning is being able to see under doorways or through drone holes. You'll actually be surprised how many gunfights you can win just by utilizing the drone holes, not only to get kills, but also as a way to gain information. Now, I did say proning can leave you vulnerable, and that is because of how long it takes to get out of the proning animation, and during that time period, you can't really do too much. So avoid proning in the middle of an open area, because you then become an easy target. But anyways guys, that's going to be all for me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.